Hi, this is Chanoch. I'd like to give a little update about current events. This is the week of Cheshvan 20th, approximately, the week of Parshat Hayai Sarah, which corresponds to November 8th, 9th, 10th, something. And I am in the Israeli city of Harish. Harish is a relatively new city, or at least it's gotten a lot bigger recently in the past 5 years. It is somewhat east of Hadera. Hadera is a city not far from the coast, north of Netanya. It's between Haifa and Netanya, Hadera. And Harish is about 15 kilometers from the coast. Yesterday we visited Hadera. One of the first times I've been there, we visited Givat Olga, which is on the coast. We saw the Orot Rabin power plant, which is one of the largest electricity generating power plants in Israel. It was named after Yitzchak Rabin, and I am probably not the only person who feels that that was one of the most appropriate ways to memorialize Yitzchak Rabin, as the power plant has 4 large smokestacks, and one of them is always puffing out smoke. Mevin Yavin. And Harish, in the past 5 years, has been built very big. There's a lot of buildings here, about 4 to 8 story buildings. If you like buildings that look all the same or pretty much the same, you might like it here. There's also a lot of nice parks, little parks around, and there's nice people, and it's a nice place. There's all types of people here. There's all types of Jews here. There's also Arabs here. It's a nice integrated community, and I recommend it for those who want to check it out. I'd like to just review some of the things I noticed, the good and bad things, probably mostly bad, but no news is good news, as they say. While I've been reading the news recently, and those of you who listen to me will pick up many of my recurring themes, such as the need for smaller government in general, and the need for electing representatives individually, and all those things. But it's good, I think, as things happen, to talk about the current events and to comment them in light of my observations for those who care about them, like me. At least it's for me. We're in a sad and difficult time now, as you know. We're in a sort of a war, which of course I have a lot to say about, but we're in a war with Gaza, the place that we turned over to the Palestinian Authority in 1994, and which was taken over by Hamas in 2006, and which was abandoned by the U.S. by the Israeli army in 2005. I find it a little strange or amusing, I don't know what the word is, how our leaders, our Prime Minister, our Defense Minister, and the other ministers of the War Cabinet have taken to wearing black shirts, button-up black shirts in all their public appearances. That's their wardrobe. I don't know if this is a coordinated thing or just by chance they're all wearing the same black shirts when they usually wear jackets and ties. I assume this is a coordinated thing. I think it's a little kitschy. Maybe they're taking a cue from, what's that fellow name over that place, Ukraine? Zelensky, what's his name? The guy who's in charge of Ukraine. He started wearing his black T-shirts and green T-shirts, since he was invaded by that country called Russia, and I don't know how that really helps them to wear these black shirts, but if it makes them feel better, gesundheit. I hope it helps something. I hope it gives them more seichel, it gives them some sort of insight and wisdom in order to try to persecute and prosecute a intelligent war. Halavai. We hope so. Again, I'm not trying to be too critical when I make these remarks. I'm trying to make these remarks lovingly. It's because I care about Israel that I criticize it. So I hope people understand that. I also was, as usual, not impressed by our representatives in the UN. We haven't sent anyone very effective to the UN in number of years. Our current representative in the UN, he criticized the Secretary General of the UN for his comments. He said, "Oh well, the Hamas attacks did not happen in a vacuum." Of course, that's an inappropriate comment, but Gilad Erdan had to jump all over him and call for his resignation. I don't think that helps. I think it would be helpful to try to talk calmly to him and other people and explain to them what's going on. Making these bombastic comments and asking for them to resign is not, in my opinion, very good diplomacy and not very helpful. Take it for what it's worth. Speaking of government officials being not helpful things, there was another minister in our government, the Minister of Heritage, the Heritage Minister, National Heritage Minister. Like, we need such a ministry. It's one of these made-up ministries they made to give ministries to people to get them to join the government, which has become the way of doing things here in the past 10, 15 years. Bibi and Benny Gantz and all the rest are really experts at it, making up ministries and ministers. And of course we have the ridiculous Norwegian law. So there's a fellow named Amichai Eliyahu, who might be a nice guy, probably is, don't really know him, as most politicians don't really know who they are, but he is the Ministry of Heritage, like Heritage Minister, and he, in the Norwegian war, and in the Norwegian law, he came into the Knesset. He gave up his MK, said he never really served as a Knesset. He has no, I guess, experience as an MK. But immediately as a minister, taking care of our heritage ministry, which is such an important ministry, and he's getting paid 40,000 shekels a month to do this. And he in an interview said that we should nuke Gaza. Okay, well, that was a productive comment. And of course, immediately the Prime Minister distanced himself completely from Eliyahu's comments, and he said, "No, we are doing all the things to protect innocent civilians, etc." Which is also not helpful, because it'd be good if they're a little scared. Of course, we are doing too much, way too much to protect innocent civilians. We act like we are only at war with Hamas commanders. Like that's the only, one of the rabbis in Mechum Meir suggested, if we blew up all the commanders with their families, that might create a little deterrence. That would be the most humane thing, because their wives would not let them, and their mothers would not let them join Hamas if they knew they were going to get blown up by it. Okay, another sad thing. There's a lot of sad things going on, but yesterday, a precious young American-Israeli woman was killed in Jerusalem. She was serving in the border police, and she was stabbed by Herod's Gate in the old city. A precious young woman by the name of Elisheva Rose Ida Lubin from Atlanta. I was very hurt to hear this. Of course, I didn't know her, but a precious young American Jewish woman who made Aliyah 2 years ago and joined the border police unit and have worked often in the old city. I have to admit that I'm torn with things like this. On the one hand, we believe everyone has their time, but on the other hand, it bothers me always that the border police or the police in general would put women, as a small woman, in a dangerous place like that. It bothers me that the Israeli army puts women in dangerous places, and many Israeli soldiers were killed. Women Israeli soldiers were killed in in this recent attack on Simchat Torah, and who knows? And if they've been, some of them may have been are captives now, which is the worst thing for them, because of course they treat women Israeli soldiers the worst. And so again, it saddens me greatly that we have this policy of putting women in dangerous places, whether it be in the army or the border police or any place else. I know these women themselves courageously go there, but I wish as a nation we did not let them. It's not good for us to let our women be in dangerous places like that. If terrible things have to happen, at least they should only happen to men. Halavai, no terrible things should happen, but it's worse if we let this happen to our precious sisters. And any case, it's very sad, and we should all pray for her soul and for the soul of all our brothers and sisters who we lost. Another comment I'd like to make of recent news is about these ridiculous numbers that Hamas says were killed in Gaza. 10,000 people, and American Muslims were marching in Washington yesterday or the day before, I don't know when. Say, 10,000 people were killed. First of all, that's highly unlikely that 10,000 people were killed. And if there were, I'm sure at least 50 or more % of them are actually terrorists, because Israel makes ridiculous efforts not to hit civilians. And Hamas just makes up numbers right and left. The other day there was some place that was supposedly hit by something. First they said, 400 people were killed, and they said, 50 people were killed. They just miscounted by 350. They seem to always give their numbers like in round numbers of functions of 10. They gave out some names. Maybe they gave some names. So no, these people were really killed. Here's the names. So names, fine, names. We can make names of all the people that died there in the past few years. I don't know what their lists are. I don't trust their lists. They're liars, and no one should assume any numbers that come out of Hamas of Gaza are correct. So and all these, and it's sad. All these people, people say free Palestine. Anyone says free Palestine, they're basically saying to destroy Israel, because the state of Israel is in where the British Mandate Palestine was, and there never was a Arab Palestine state here before. And now that we have our state here for the past 75 years, now they say free Palestine, like gluten-free, like maybe free Palestine is like gluten-free, like, we don't want Palestine here, we want to be Palestine-free, like gluten-free. Maybe that's what they mean by free Palestine. But some people should talk. There's always crazy Americans, Muslims that, someone should explain to them what's going on here, explain to them what they're saying when they say things like that, and all the ridiculous things they say, and to counter them, because it's just ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, the American Secretary of State visited Mahmoud Abbas, the head of the Palestinian Authority, the other terrorist organization here in Palestine, or one of them, in Ramallah, which the headquarters are. And I don't know what he talked about. I assume he talked about they would like to have the Palestinian Authority take over again the control in Gaza. Which, by the way, what's Ehud Barak, in his book, he writes that he actually spoke to them about that in 2009 or 10, and said, if in theory the Israeli army would retake Gaza from Hamas, would you be willing to take it over? And what he said no, he's not interested. And I assume he's not interested, and certainly we should not be interested in having their terrorist organization take over again for the Hamas terrorist organization. No. And in fact, thank God, the Israeli government has said now, the Prime Minister has said, at least temporarily, at least for a little time, after Gaza is retaken by the IDF, it will be under Israeli security control. Thank God. Halavai, we pray, it should just be permanently under Israeli security. That's the only way to make things safe. That is the most humanitarian thing, that Gaza should be permanently under Israeli security control here in the beautiful state of Israel, Palestine, and they can go about their business there, doing whatever they want, but not shooting at us and that would be the most humanitarian and an appropriate thing for everyone. Okay, thanks for listening, my dear friends, for my rhetoric during these trying times. I send you my blessings from the city of Harish in Israel, and let's meet again next week with help from above.